Oh, hello everyone. Oh, geez. Do you know anyone who has ever vlogged, documented anything like this? Oh, have you ever been there where you've filmed something and then something has happened to the video and yeah, and you're having to refilm it? I had to say this. I've had this twice now. I was trying to use my laptop um camera just so I wasn't having to transfer things, and oh god, and the video corrupted on both occasions. So if I seem a bit weary about this video, it's because it's late. I thought this would be quite nice to do this. Sorry about my hands being in front of there. But do you know what? I actually want to get this done and actually enjoy it and not look horrible on this. At least I know this will work now. So yeah, I'm here to talk about my fourth tattoo. And that. I will insert a photograph, but if I'm lucky, I can. Excuse me for moving the camera a little. But here's the tattoo in question that we're talking about. Yes, that's my beautiful poppy and butterfly tattoo. And that, of course, I will insert proper photographs at the end too for you. Because that was a bit of a weird angle. And yeah, the reason why I got this, and I feel as if I've rambled on about this so much, but do you know what, just for my own sanity, I'm really going to try and condense this. Essentially, I am a cousin, second cousin, third cousin from all branches of my family, both on my mum's side of the family and my dad's side of the family. I am a niece, a great niece, a great great niece. I am a granddaughter and a great granddaughter of so many heroes, and they literally are heroes to me. All of them on my dad's and my mum's side of the family, and both of their mum and dad's side of the family. I mean, military. It is almost ridiculous how much military runs literally through these veins and me, ranging all the way back from my great great uncles. I lost two of them in World War One at the Battle of the Somme, and sadly one of them doesn't even have a grave. His name is etched on the Tidval Memorial, unfortunately. To three cousins that I lost in World War One, to another cousin on my dad's side of the family who was in the RAF, literally died 5 weeks before the end of the war in World War Two. Another one that was a rear gunner, flew 31 missions on the Lancaster bomber. You know, I've got great uncles on my dad's side of the family and my grandparents. One of my granddads was actually a driver and actually helped liberate Bergen-Belsen. Yeah, that's it. No, that's a very dear subject to my heart. It always has been. And that all the way down to, like, I've got an uncle who I share a birthday with, actually. And that, so can you see, I've got military like runs so through my family and beyond. And I am just so proud of all of them. Some of them I knew, some of them I never knew. You know, they died way before I was even born. I wanted something to pay tribute to them, so that's why I came up with the whole poppy and butterfly idea. Yeah, this was a lot of firsts for me, this tattoo. It was my first leg tattoo. It was, in the end, it was my first like custom drawn tattoo, because these were more taken from like references because of what they are, as you've seen in the previous videos. And this one was sort of taken from a reference photo, but then it was heavily changed, if you know what I mean. And And it was my first female artist that I had, and my first tattoo, and to this date, my only tattoo convention tattoo as well. So it was a lot of firsts for me. If you also like watching how these tattoos are actually done, I have got videos from this one onwards and this one showing actually getting these tattoos. But how it came about is after I'd done all my research, and I literally got this idea not long after I got these tattoos. It was sometime in sort of March, but I wasn't in any hurry to kind of get it done and that. And I literally around the same sort of time I'd started learning about tattoo conventions, and I'd found out that Milton Keynes was holding its very first tattoo convention and all of that lot. And I thought, that could be interesting to go to and everything. So yeah, so I looked at the artist list for the convention, and I must have emailed about or messaged about 3 artists, but they were all booked up in that. And have you ever like that? So I thought, way this is going, I'm not going to get a tattoo book, because I already knew right from the get-go that I didn't want to do a walk-up situation. I wanted to try and get an appointment with someone if I could, and that. Another tip from Treacle Tats. Thank you very much, Lauren, on that and everything. And have you ever had that light bulb moment where you've suddenly discovered an artist that it's either their style you like, or it's what they specialised in? And I had that. I kept checking back on the website, because of course they were still adding new artists all the time, even then, because that was still a few months out. This was mid-March. The convention wasn't until mid-June at this point of 2019. And the latest artist that they'd added, I literally had that, because Amber is her name, Amber Zumbers. Don't ask me to pronounce her tattoo studio. I'll give you the info later on. I'll write it, or I might write it here. And I think it's like Salas or something like that. She works in Birmingham, because that was kind of my criteria. I didn't necessarily want to just get a local artist that was actually quite local to me for me to get to, and there was quite a few of those, because not in her case, but a lot of times artists actually do charge more for convention tattoos, because they've had to hire their booths and their travel, etc, etc. And I thought, well, what is the point in me paying out a ticket just to go to an artist that I could probably get to quite easily? You know, I wanted to try and get an artist that was quite a while away, you know, that would be expensive for me to actually travel to. It just felt a bit more meaningful. So when I found out that she was from Birmingham, I'm thinking, yeah, that's a fair distance from me. That would be expensive for me to get to. But the reason why it was literally that light bulb moment is because the picture that she'd submitted onto the website of her tattoo was a gorgeous butterfly. And as soon as I saw that, I've been thinking, please let me get in with her. So I emailed her and gave her the idea and that. And I think yeah, that's the joy of doing this 2.5 years later, nearly, isn't it? I can't quite remember if she actually got back to me fairly quickly or not. I have a funny feeling I don't think she did. I think I remember kind of being on tender hooks for a little while for this, but I don't think she kept me waiting that long, on the other hand, and everything. And to my delight, she didn't have any bookings. I think probably, I mean, she's definitely been tattooing for a few years, but she's not a very well-known artist, so she hadn't had any bookings whatsoever. So I gave her the concept idea, you know, told her everything, and she just loved it. And then when she told me the price of it, because I knew that it was going to be reasonably big, I don't know if you could tell or not by looking at that, but it's actually almost hand size. It's up to about here. I think if I remember correctly, it's about 5 inches by 3 inches. So So being used to down south prices, I was starting to think, oh God, this isn't going to be cheap, is it? And to my chagrin, I still can't believe that she actually only charged me £100 for this. And then I realised afterwards, it's because she charged me, she said to me, no, I'm not up for charging more just because I've travelled to a convention. She charged me what she would have charged in a studio. And of course, I think everyone knows, if you go up north, it tends to be cheaper, even with tattoos and all of that lot. Unless of course you're going to like really, really like, you know, like some of the great artists. I mean, there's some seriously great artists like up north in England. I can think of a few, that's for sure, that I definitely know and love, and their hourly rate can be like, I don't know, £90, £100 an hour, if you know what I mean. So, and yeah, I just couldn't believe it. I got it all booked in. Of course, I didn't say anything to anyone. I never do. And yeah, I went to the convention and had my usual my Costa tradition that I always have, you know, make sure you eat well beforehand. Of course, I'd had a big breakfast before I'd left, but it was a little way for me to travel. Not too bad, but it was a little time for me to get there. And yeah, and she just started tattooing me. And that was the other thing I was really surprised at. Particularly now. I was thinking, ugh, shin tattoos, because it's literally right in the centre of my shin. And that I'm thinking, thin skin, this isn't going to be pleasant, I didn't think. And also, the reason why I put it there is because I actually had a really old scar that I was kind of getting sick of. Not a major scar, it was just a scar that I'd got from like falling over, and unfortunately, because of where it was, it literally, I'm not kidding, it literally took about 4 months to heal because I kept knocking the scab because it was in such an annoying spot. So it was like one of those really sort of round white scars, but it was just annoying. And that, but you know what? I don't know if I'm just the lucky one, or she was quite a light touch, bearing in mind I'd only been tattooed by one previous artist by that point, and that, but literally it was a breeze. I think the only time it literally was a little bit painful was right on like the outer edges, if you know what I mean, and that, and I did bleed slightly, but nothing drastic. Anywho, that's besides the point. If you want to know all of that, you can see that actually in the video and all of that lot. And yeah, it was just a breeze, and she was just a delight, Amber. She's a lovely artist and all of that lot. I don't know if I'll ever be able to be tattooed by her again, because of course the convention is coming back in 2022. Yeah, it's we haven't had it since 2019, what with a slight pandemic, if you know what I mean, and that. But yeah, but unfortunately she's just become a new mum, so not sure if I'll ever get tattooed by her again. But if I ever got the opportunity to, I definitely would love to. I'd love to get a proper rose tattoo by her. Actually, that's that's somewhere on my list in the future. Roses are my favourite flower. One particular rose that I actually grow in my own garden I do want, and everything. And then yeah, healing, that was pretty easy. I was still using Tagaderm Second Skin at that point. I do remember, oh my god, it was seriously gunky and messy the next day. Oh jeez. But it was heavily coloured. No blood rush pain, luckily though. I do remember though that it was, it did seem to have a really, really long dry phase for quite a while. And the only sort of downside I think I've had since then is apparently this is quite common with red. After it healed, it wasn't really like, as you can see here, I'm wearing like bright orange. It wasn't like a proper poppy literally popping red, if you know what I mean. It looked more like a sort of a pink red. If, like I said, if you see my videos on it and that. So funny enough, very recently, and when I say recently, I'm talking about, well, I'm talking about this year, but I'm trying to think, that was on my yeah, I got a tattoo done at a local studio in April this year. And while I was getting that, because I knew that Amber wasn't able to touch this up for me, she actually said, why don't you just go to a good artist that wouldn't mind just putting a bit more red ink in for you. And since I had this tattoo coming up, Siobhan from Penny Royal at the time, but she's now at Panic Ink Hitchin, and that she very kindly put a bit more red ink. Weirdly, it's all healed now and everything, so give you another look. So it's definitely redder than it was, but it's still not a complete, you know, popping red. But do you know what? I think that could just be my skin color. Apparently red is it is a tricky color with some people. Apparently it doesn't always heal very well, which is weird because I actually have another tattoo that I will come to later in another video, and that is pretty much solely all red, and that one healed really, really well, but I think that must be just a completely different shade of red, maybe. So, but yeah, it's definitely not as pink red as it used to be, but would I like it a bit brighter? Yes, but am I going to go and get another touch up on it? No. Not unless maybe if I ever see Amber again, maybe she could do that. So yes, guys, at least this will work finally. So that is the story behind my beautiful poppy and butterfly tattoo. Signing off, guys.